OPIc 과거 경험 및 상황 묘사에 활용할 수 있는 스크립트 모음입니다. OPIc에서 고득점을 받을 수 있도록 다양한 패턴들을 접목시켰어요. 이 영상을 시청하시기 전에 제 채널 플레이리스트에 있는 패턴 모음 영상을 먼저 학습하시면 훨씬 더 효과적일 거예요. 참고로 스크립트는 외우기 위한 것이 아니라 참고용입니다. 암기하려고 하기보다는 다양한 스토리에 익숙해지는 연습을 해보시는 걸 추천드려요.
1. Home problem experience.
I'll never forget the time when my bathroom pipe burst unexpectedly. It was the day I was getting ready for work when I heard a strange noise. Suddenly, water started leaking all over the floor. I couldn't believe my eyes. I was overwhelmed with panic and didn't know what to do. I reacted by turning off the main water valve and calling a plumber. It turned out that the pipe was very old and needed to be replaced. In the end, the plumber fixed it, but I learned a valuable lesson that day. Now, I regularly check my plumbing to avoid similar situations.
2. Childhood task failure.
I remember when I was asked to clean my room as a child, but I completely forgot about it. It was the day before my birthday party, and I was too excited. To my surprise, my mom found my room still messy and got upset. I didn't know what to do because I had no time left. I reacted by quickly shoving everything under my bed, but she noticed. In the end, I had to clean everything properly. It taught me the importance of responsibility and following instructions. Since then, I always try to complete my tasks on time.
3. Memorable family experience.
I'll always remember the time my family and I had a game night at home. It was the day we decided to turn off our phones and spend time together. We played board games, laughed, and enjoyed delicious snacks. Suddenly, a power outage occurred, but instead of ruining the night, we lit candles and continued playing. It turned out to be even more fun in the dark. In the end, we had one of the best nights ever. It made me realize how important family bonding is, and I still cherish that memory.
4. House challenge experience.
It was the day when my kitchen sink got clogged and water wouldn't drain. At first, I tried using a plunger, but nothing worked. Out of nowhere, the water started overflowing, and I panicked. I didn't know what to do, but I decided to search for solutions online. Following the advice, I used baking soda and vinegar, and after a while, the sink started draining. In the end, the problem was solved, and I learned a valuable lesson about home maintenance. Now, I always make sure to clean my pipes regularly.
5. House changes over time.
I'll never forget the time when my family moved into our current home. It was the day we stepped into an empty house with plain white walls and no furniture. Over the years, we slowly decorated it with our favorite colors and furniture. We added a cozy sofa, hung family photos, and even built a small garden. In the end, our house became a warm and comfortable place filled with memories. It made me realize how a house becomes a home through time and personal touches.
6. Favorite actor's story.
One of my favorite actors is Tom Hanks, and I remember a touching story about him. It was the day when he met a fan at a restaurant. To my surprise, he sat with the fan, shared a meal, and even took photos. I couldn't believe my ears when I read about it. Many celebrities ignore their fans, but Tom Hanks treated this person like a friend. It made me realize how kindness can make a huge difference. This story left a lasting impression on me, and I admire him even more now.
7. Memorable park experience.
I'll always remember the time when I went to a park and saw a funny incident. It was the day my friend and I went for a picnic. Suddenly, a squirrel jumped onto a man's picnic table and stole his sandwich. He tried to chase the squirrel, but it ran up a tree. Everyone around laughed, and it became the highlight of our day. It made me realize that even small unexpected moments can turn into great memories. Looking back, it was one of the funniest park visits I've had.
8. Beach trip memory.
I'll never forget the time when I lost my flip-flops at the beach. It was the day my friends and I went for a relaxing trip. We played in the water and enjoyed the waves. Suddenly, a big wave came and washed away my flip-flops. I couldn't believe my eyes. I searched everywhere, but they were gone. In the end, I had to walk barefoot on the hot sand all the way back to the car. It was a funny but unforgettable experience, and now I always make sure to keep my shoes far from the waves. 9. Difficult sports event experience. There was a time when I really wanted to watch a live soccer match, but it was hard to get tickets. It was a championship game, and all tickets were sold out. I was overwhelmed with disappointment. I decided to check online every day for resale tickets. To my surprise, I found a ticket on the morning of the match. In the end, I managed to watch the game, and my favorite team won. It was an exciting experience that taught me the value of persistence.
10. Coffee shop surprise.
I'll always remember the time when I got free coffee at my favorite cafe. It was the day I forgot my wallet, but still ordered my usual drink. Suddenly, the barista smiled and said, "It's on the house today." I was overwhelmed with gratitude and promised to return the favor someday. It made me realize how a small act of kindness can brighten someone's day. Since then, I always try to do nice things for others whenever I can.
11. Memorable shopping experience.
I'll never forget the time when I found an unbelievable discount while shopping. It was the day before a big holiday, and the mall was crowded. Suddenly, I saw my favorite jacket on sale for 80% off. I couldn't believe my eyes and grabbed it immediately. To my surprise, it was the last one in my size. I felt a rush of excitement and quickly went to the checkout. In the end, I got the jacket at a great price, and it became one of my favorite pieces of clothing. It made me realize that sometimes patience in shopping really pays off.
12. Memorable TV show or movie.
I'll always remember the time when I watched the movie Inception for the first time. It was the day I truly appreciated the beauty of storytelling. The plot was so complex and fascinating that I was overwhelmed with curiosity. Suddenly, the ending left me in shock. It was so ambiguous. I couldn't stop thinking about it for days. In the end, I watched it again to catch all the hidden details. It changed my perspective on movies, making me appreciate deep and thought-provoking films even more.
13. Memorable live music experience.
I'll never forget the time when I attended my first live concert. It was the day my favorite band came to my city. I was feeling so excited as I waited for the show to start. Suddenly, the lights dimmed and the band appeared on stage. I felt a rush of joy as they played my favorite songs. Everyone was singing along, and the energy was amazing. In the end, I lost my voice from cheering so much, but it was worth it. It was a once-in-a-lifetime experience that I will always cherish.
14. Memorable singing experience.
I'll always remember the time when I sang in front of an audience for the first time. It was the day of my school's talent show. I was overwhelmed with nervousness, and my hands were shaking. Suddenly, the music started, and I had no choice but to sing. To my surprise, my voice came out stronger than I expected. In the end, I received loud applause and even some compliments from teachers. It made me realize how much I enjoy performing, and it helped me overcome my fear of singing in public.
15. Memorable musical instrument experience.
I'll never forget the time when I performed on stage with my guitar. It was the day of a school festival, and I had been practicing for weeks. Suddenly, when I started playing, my fingers slipped, and I made a mistake. I was overwhelmed with embarrassment, but I decided to keep going. To my surprise, the audience didn't seem to mind, and they cheered for me. In the end, I finished my performance and felt proud of myself. It taught me that mistakes are just part of the learning process.
16. Memorable cooking experience.
I'll never forget the time when I tried to cook pasta but completely messed it up. It was the day I wanted to surprise my family with dinner. I was feeling confident as I followed the recipe, but suddenly, I realized I had added too much salt. To my surprise, it was almost inedible. I didn't know what to do, so I decided to start over. In the end, the second attempt was much better, and my family loved it. It was a valuable lesson in patience and learning from mistakes.
17. Memorable literature experience.
I'll always remember the time when I read Harry Potter for the first time. It was the book that changed my perspective on reading. I was overwhelmed with excitement as I followed the story of magic and adventure. Suddenly, I found myself completely lost in the world of Hogwarts. I couldn't put the book down. In the end, I finished it in just a few days. It made me realize how powerful storytelling can be, and it sparked my lifelong love for books.
18. Memorable walking experience.
I'll never forget the time when I went on a night walk in a foreign city. It was the day I arrived in Paris for the first time. I was feeling tired but excited, so I decided to take a walk. Suddenly, I turned a corner and saw the Eiffel Tower sparkling in the distance. I couldn't believe my eyes, it was breathtaking. I felt a rush of joy and took many photos. In the end, that simple walk became one of my most unforgettable travel memories.
19. Memorable jogging experience.
I'll always remember the time when I joined my first charity run. It was the day I truly felt the power of community. I was feeling excited but also nervous because I wasn't a great runner. Suddenly, as the race started, I was surrounded by hundreds of people running together for a cause. I felt a rush of motivation and kept going. In the end, I finished the race, even though I was exhausted. It made me realize that jogging isn't just about exercise, it can also bring people together.
20. Memorable fitness club experience.
I'll never forget the time when I first joined a fitness club. It was the day I decided to take my health seriously. I was overwhelmed with the variety of equipment and had no idea where to start. Suddenly, a trainer approached me and offered guidance. To my surprise, I actually enjoyed the workout more than I expected. In the end, I felt exhausted but proud of myself. It changed my perspective on exercise, and I've been going to the gym regularly ever since.
21. Memorable travel experience.
I'll never forget the time when I got lost while traveling abroad. It was the day I arrived in a new country, and I was trying to find my hotel. Suddenly, my phone battery died, and I had no GPS to guide me. I was overwhelmed with panic, but I decided to ask a local for help. To my surprise, they were very kind and even walked me to my hotel. In the end, I made it safely, and I learned a valuable lesson about always carrying a map. It made me realize the importance of preparation when traveling.
22. Memorable vacation experience.
I'll always remember the time when I had an unexpected adventure during a vacation. It was the day my family and I planned to visit a famous tourist site, but suddenly, heavy rain ruined our plans. Instead of staying in our hotel, we decided to explore a local market. To my surprise, we discovered amazing street food and met friendly locals. In the end, it turned out to be one of the best experiences of the trip. It made me realize that sometimes unplanned moments create the best memories.
23. Memorable event in my neighborhood.
I'll never forget the time when a big festival was held in my neighborhood. It was the day our community came together for a special celebration. The streets were decorated, music was playing, and food stalls were everywhere. Suddenly, a parade passed by, and people started dancing. I was overwhelmed with excitement and joined in. In the end, it was one of the most enjoyable days I've had in my neighborhood. It made me realize how important community events are for bringing people together.
24. Memorable broken furniture incident.
I'll always remember the time when I accidentally broke a chair at home. It was the day I was jumping on it like a trampoline while playing. Suddenly, I heard a loud crack and the chair collapsed under me. I couldn't believe my eyes and felt a rush of panic. I decided to try fixing it with glue, but it didn't work. In the end, my parents found out, and I had to buy a new chair. It was a funny but unforgettable lesson about being more careful with furniture.
25. Memorable technology failure.
I'll never forget the time when my laptop crashed the night before an important presentation. It was the day I had finally finished my slides and was feeling relieved. Suddenly, my screen went black and I couldn't restart it. I was overwhelmed with stress and didn't know what to do. I reacted by using a friend's computer to redo my work overnight. In the end, I managed to finish just in time. It was a frustrating but valuable lesson about backing up my files.
26. Memorable cell phone issue.
I'll always remember the time when I dropped my phone in water. It was the day I went to a cafe with my friends. Suddenly, my phone slipped from my hand and fell straight into my drink. I couldn't believe my eyes. I quickly took it out and tried drying it, but it wouldn't turn on. In the end, I had to buy a new phone. It made me realize how important it is to be careful with electronic devices.
27. Memorable internet research project.
I'll never forget the time when I worked on a school project that required a lot of online research. It was the day before the deadline, and I was feeling confident. Suddenly, my Wi-Fi stopped working, and I couldn't access any information. I was overwhelmed with frustration, but I decided to go to a nearby cafe to use their internet. In the end, I completed my project just in time. It taught me the importance of always having a backup plan.
28. Memorable transportation problem.
I'll always remember the time when I missed my bus and had to walk home. It was the day of a heavy rainstorm, and I was feeling exhausted after work. Suddenly, I saw my bus leave right in front of me. I couldn't believe my bad luck. I decided to walk instead, but I got completely soaked. In the end, I learned to always check the bus schedule carefully. It was a frustrating but unforgettable experience.
29. Memorable restaurant experience.
I'll never forget the time when I had a hilarious experience at a restaurant. It was the day my family went out for a fancy dinner. Suddenly, the waiter accidentally spilled soup all over my brother's shirt. I was overwhelmed with laughter, and even my brother couldn't stop laughing. The restaurant gave us free dessert as an apology. In the end, it turned into a funny and memorable night. It made me realize that even mistakes can create good memories.
30. Memorable meal experience.
I'll always remember the time when I had the best homemade meal. It was the day my grandmother cooked a special dish for my birthday. I was feeling excited as I watched her prepare everything. Suddenly, she revealed a secret ingredient that made the food taste amazing. I was overwhelmed with happiness as we all enjoyed the meal together. In the end, it was one of the most delicious meals I've ever had. It made me realize that food always tastes better when shared with loved ones.